Okay, Greenbird here. It's about 3:45 in the morning here on December 23rd, 2021. Having a hard time sleeping tonight. Not completely unexpected or out of the ordinary, so I thought I'd get up and I'd clean up this real nasty, it's not even a biface. It looks like it was supposed to be a knife, or the makings of a knife at some point. Thought I'd try and clean that up a little bit, maybe make a little preform out of it for indirect percussion. And probably be another story during this video because I don't really have much to talk about as far as what I'm doing, because I'm just thinning a biface. I may, point out a platform here and there. So first I'll let you take a look at it. You can see pretty nasty stacks right there. A big old hinge right there. Another one on this side somewhere right there. Not quite as bad. Oh, big one over here. Look at that giant one. Gonna have to clean that up. So this was in, not a scrap pile, but kind of a pile of abandoned things. So obviously this was a knife blade. I think I remember when I was working on it, and now that I think of it, I don't think it was quite as long ago as I originally had thought this was. I think I just made some mistakes, got a couple of deep dives and gave up on it. So I'm going to see if I can do something with it today. If nothing else, I'll get a little bit of seat time. Hope everybody's doing well and ready for Christmas. I don't know when this video will come out, but tomorrow is Christmas Eve. I have pretty much everything wrapped and ready to go. Alright, so I think, okay, so really my major thought process here and my concern is I need to get rid of that step, or that hinge rather, from the other side and do a little bit of cleanup. So I'm probably gonna, I don't know, I may lose that knife shape and go into a little bit more of an arrowhead, or maybe just like a general biface, because I'm going to have to get rid of that anyway. So I think that's how I'm going to start. When I was a kid, all I did was play with rocks, play with stones. I think that's part of the fascination with Flintknapping. I'm still playing with stones. The only difference is when I was a kid, it was my imagination that turned it into everything, turned them into, I don't know, anything you want them to be. They could be grenades you're throwing in a game you're playing. Could be who can hit the stump in the middle of the river, who can skip it the farthest. Now it's just the best point I can make. But I had a lot of fun. I grew up financially, not extremely well-to-do. My parents did an awesome job providing for me and making sure I ate. I didn't really realize how poor we were until I got older. We used to make up all kinds of games. Every boy, plays guns and things like that. Where you have to, you get shot and you count to 30 or whatever the rules are. Oh, that's a nasty one. When I got older, I started to get into some of those role-playing games. Not the kind where you dress up and LARP around, but the oh, another step. The ones that you roll the dice, you make your character sheets, and play the game that way. But not having a lot of money, we take some of the books from the different games and we make our own games. Some of them pretty complex. We'd have our own charts that we'd make up, our damage charts and our, you know, different abilities and skills you could choose from. I mean, it was pretty legit what we did, but we also had some real simple ones that we would play, just real quickies. So, you know, for example, instead of having a huge character sheet, you know, rolling 20-sided dice and hitting double 10s and 8-sided and all that other stuff to get your stats, we based it on a handful of 6-sided, or I'm sorry, yeah, 6-sided dice. I don't remember exactly how many. I think there might have been 3 or 4. And we just stuck with the real basics. You know, we had to hit numbers. So we had, you know, if you did an attack, you had to roll above your to hit number. If your opponent wanted to block it, they had to roll above their defense number. Or sometimes we'd make it so your hit number would have to be above their defense number. We made it all kinds of different ways. So one day, I convinced my dad to play with me. And when he was younger, he was into Dungeons and Dragons. And then got rid of them. Pretty sure it had to do with a religious time in his life, if I remember right. The story, anyway. He gave them to my Uncle Vinny. But anyway, this was quite a few years after that, and I had convinced him to play. And one of the games that me and my friend invented was really cool. It was, you would draw a picture of some sort of a beast, right? Some sort of a monster or whatever, and you would pick out its special moves and write them all down and get their stats. So I convinced my dad to play this game. And, so he drew his beast and I drew my beast. I don't remember what my beast looked like, but because of this story, I remember exactly what his looked like. It was like this bird chicken thing with claws. I think he was trying to be funny, but hey, that was serious business to me. We were playing. So we go a couple rounds back and forth. I attack him, he attacks me, you know, we're deducting hit points. And I'm getting into it. At this point, I'm getting, you know, it's pretty serious. I want to beat the old man. So, like I said, we're throwing attacks at each other. And one of his attacks was he would take the beak and lunge at you. He called it like peck. Super peck, something like that. I don't remember what it was, but we were just, you know, we were going back and forth. We kept rolling fast because he'd attack, I'd dodge, he'd attack, and all of a sudden he says, "I'm going to peck you," and without hesitation, without even thinking, I blurted out, "I'm going to block and chop off your pecker." Well, needless to say, that caught us both off guard. Kind of half wondering if I'm going to get in trouble, but I was old enough then, I was pretty sure it was all good. And my dad started cracking up, dying laughing. I'll never forget that. Never. It's really weird, the things that you remember from your childhood. Sometimes I think about that with my daughter. Whenever you think, oh, she's not going to remember that, or oh, she'll remember this for sure. It's so random what kids remember. So, it wasn't clickbait. I really did try to chop my dad's pecker off. I don't think we even finished the game. We were laughing so hard. Not sure if I'm rescuing this or just torturing it further. Too soon to tell. trying to thin this base out a little bit. I really just wanted a biface, but it seems to be kind of forming into an arrow shape, so I'm going to try to be aware of that and not lose any more than I have to. I gotta do something about that first, though. Gotta be real careful not to get end shock here. There we go. And I'm gonna move on, because if I don't, I'll find myself staying in the same place for too long. I tried to get away that time. There we go. Maybe just not telling the story helps me a little bit. Those are funny stories, and I tell these stories because I want my daughter to hear them someday if I'm not able to tell her myself. My daughter's awesome. She has the same type of sense of humor. Alright, so I got a pretty deep dive that time. Trying to... So there's the deep dive, okay? That big, nasty booger is what I'm trying to eventually get to drive a flake off. But I did not really want to take that deep of a flake because, or that long of a flake even, because it just makes that edge so much thinner that it's going to be tough to get that boogery part off, because I'm going to end up losing a lot of width. I think I may just... Nope, I'm going to go to the base first, because this is sort of in the middle. You never want the middle of your point being thinner than your base or your tip, because you will definitely run into problems there. You'll get shock. So as tempting as that is, I'm just going to, avoid it for now. It's not going anywhere. It'll be there later as well. Oh, I didn't like that. That's a little better. I don't know if it's because it's so late or I'm talking or what, not having quite as much success on this one as I did the last one. That big piece of obsidian with the silver sheen in it, that was the piece I did earlier today. Well, not earlier, that was only about 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago. No, actually I guess by now it's probably 5 or 6 hours ago. Okay, stop. There we go. Gotta remember I'm working with obsidian. I don't need to beat the crap out of it. It's kind of funny because those of you that know me don't really care for obsidian, but I'm starting to kind of dig it again. Good for preforms, for indirect. Oh man, I'm just killing this one though. Crushing every edge I can see. See that? It's the same edge, I believe, where I had problems before, so I don't know. I don't think it's the stone. The stone looks pretty clean. I haven't seen anything to indicate that there's anything wrong with the rock. That's alright. Maybe it's mad. Maybe it wants to be a knife again. Still a little bit of an edge to that stack there, but I want to see if I can blast off underneath it a little bit. Give me some platforms to maybe come back at it. I know you don't normally go into a stack, but if I can get a decent enough, low enough platform to where I can undercut it, especially with Obsidian, I'll give it a shot. Should probably go down to the base here. A little bit of a hinge there, but it went pretty far. I think that cleaned the hinge off. Still can't quite get to that booger, so let's work on this edge over here. See if I can get underneath those stacks to flip it, blast them off. There we go. I think every flake to be like that. So I'm going to try and take a flake above here. There's the booger. I don't want to work into it. I'm going to try and work around it, lower that edge, and then blast it off. So there it is. I was working this edge over here. It's going to come over to here, but I'm going to come up on it a little bit instead, above it. Isolate it a little bit. Oop, didn't want to get a flake there. That off. This won't be bad. Maybe I'll see if I can get a little baby flake right here. Work. Okay, let's go back down to the base. Almost to the point where I can take that nasty spot off. Just gonna take some small flakes. Not that small. Try to speed this up so it's not quite as long and boring. But this rock is just being a little stubborn. Not pretty on this side. But I think if we can get that, like I said, if we can get that booger off, fix it. I guess I'm gonna fix it now. It's like a Bob Ross thing. It doesn't look good now, but it'll look good when I'm done with it. Well, not a bad flake considering how crushed that edge was. Take it. I didn't think I was going to get that. Here's the moment of truth. Here's that giant thick spot in the worst possible place it could be. So, I'm going to try and blast it off. Trim a little more. Just really want to, if I can get any isolation on this, I want to, because it's pretty critical. I think I'm only going to get one shot at this. And it's either going to work, or it's going to make it worse, or it's going to break it. So I'm going to support it as much as I can. Did we get it? Ooh, most of it. And I left myself a platform. So that was a success. Not so aggressive on this one, just a little love tap. Alright, now let's get back to shaping this back into something normal. And maybe we'll just stick with a knife. Let's get this one first. Let's take this one, I guess. Maybe I'll speed this up when I put it on film. There we go. Okay, let's see what we can take off here. There we go.
What is wrong? Damn
there it is. And it's sadness. Sorry for wasting your time.